Hi, this is Howard, the teaserking, coming to you with week 13 in college football. Had a huge week last week. Lock of the year won, or it's not the lock of the year, but it was the best lock so far of this year. I might have better ones coming up. We had New England getting the points and San Diego getting the points, and College Houston getting 22. And I love those games. I love anytime you get a real good quarterback getting points. Just, you know, that's where you lock it. I locked Tom Brady. I locked Rivers. Houston's a good offense. They've been playing really good defense. They played Louisville 2013, getting 22 there. So that's what I look for, and that's why sometimes they just don't get those teams, and you can't force the lock. But that's what I did last week. I didn't force it. I waited, and I had three really good ones, plus Denver, which I didn't lock because of Peyton Manning, but I played it really strong. And a couple others in college, Michigan State, Wisconsin. So anyway, what's happened in college, there's been a couple of major upsets. And a lot of the times, let's look at Stanford. Stanford beats Oregon. And you get really emotional before the game and during the game, and you beat them. Very hard to get up the next week, and they had to travel to SC as a road favorite. It's not a surprise. I didn't play them, but I got to see how good USC is because, you know, with the coaching changes and everything. So I couldn't take USC, but I couldn't play Stanford because they were a road favorite after a big game. And this is what you got in college. You got to be careful of the look ahead game or the look behind game. And you know, mostly it's the look behind game. You get up sky high. Game's over, you win. Generally the winner is flat the next week. They're excited, they're happy they won. The loser can get mad they lost, now they have to win. And that leads me into this week. By Stanford losing, Oregon opens the door again for them. And I just love Oregon against Rich Rod and his no defense Arizona team. They're going to kill them. They'll put up 50 points on them. Just love Oregon, but because they have a second chance. Stanford, on the other hand, doesn't know what to do. If they end up tied, they get it because of the head-to-head win. Because they lost at USC, which is they're in the South, but Stanford's in the North with Oregon State. Oregon can still lose to Oregon State, so Stanford has to win this game. And Stanford's playing Cal, a team that lost by 40 points to Colorado, who's terrible. So again, I like Stanford after the loss at home against a team they'll kill. And they'll be mad because now they've lost. So Oregon benefits. They've got a second chance. So it's this type of psychology that you look for, especially now. I'm looking for teams for 2 points. One, they need their 6th win to get into a bowl game. Two, they have to win to get a chance at the conference title or to win the conference. Maybe they're a game behind, so they have to win the game. Not that they're not always motivated, but I guarantee you Purdue isn't excited, and I guarantee you, New Mexico State and UTEP and UAB, these teams, they really just go out and they're doing the motions. But the teams like UCF and Houston and Louisville, I mean, there's a 3-team race there. They're all hyped up. So you have a lot of that where you got to look at the teams there. So I tend to look at the standings and see who's close, where are they, and pick accordingly. Now another game that falls under that is Arizona State and UCLA. This game's virtually for the Rose Bowl, well, the Rose Bowl end of the South side. UCLA still has to play USC, but they're right now, I think, a game behind Arizona State because they lost to Stanford and Oregon, and Arizona State played Stanford and didn't play Oregon. So it's kind of unlucky in the schedule there. UCLA is a home dog. I don't understand this. UCLA should be a 3 to 4 point favorite here. I love UCLA as a home dog. I mean, that's ridiculous. No reason for them to be a dog here. So I really like that. We talked about Oregon and Stanford. Now we got Missouri laying 2.5 to Ole Miss. Same thing. Missouri must win the game. Their quarterback returns, although the other quarterback's probably just as good as the first quarterback. They dominate offensively and defensively on the line, Missouri. They're a true top team. Yes, the old ball coach beat them, but basically I don't see Mississippi beating them. Mississippi did beat LSU, but I don't see it here. I think Missouri's just, they'll control both lines of scrimmage, their quarterback's back, and they look like a complete team, and for them, 2.5, you get 3.5 points, seems like a joke. Again, they should be favored by at least 7 here. A lot of missed spreads I'm picking up on. Georgia lays 24 to Kentucky. I think Georgia has to win the game to have any hope, although they probably won't catch Missouri, but if Missouri loses to Ole Miss, Georgia's right back in it, and then South Carolina has to lose, so they can still jump back in. Kentucky's terrible. They're a bet against team. Georgia's laying 24. You cut it to 18. Their running back's back. I know the receivers are out, but I think they proved it last week, putting up, what was it, 34 or 38 on Auburn. What a great game that was. Georgia should have won the game. But I like them here, just laying 18. They got to blow out Kentucky. Another game, Wisconsin, Minnesota, same thing. Wisconsin must win the game. Maybe they can catch Ohio State, maybe they can't, but they got to keep winning. This coach is unbelievable. Wisconsin's coach was Utah State's coach last year, and in both years he's not to lose against the spread. He was 11 or 12-0 last year, and so far this year they've covered every week. Just amazing, amazing to this coach. They're laying 15 to Minnesota. Wisconsin has a great defense, and they just power the ball down your throat, which takes away their offense of the other team, right? If they keep holding the ball, and you're really hard to stop them. Minnesota doesn't have that run defense to really stop Wisconsin. It's a rivalry game, but being in Minnesota is not a big deal. I mean, Wisconsin plays in the cold, so cold weather won't have an effect. So Wisconsin's rolling. They're a very good team. Minnesota's okay. See, what's deceiving a lot, let's look at the Houston-Cincinnati game. You look at Cincinnati, I think they're 8-1 or 8-2, and you take time to look at who they played, and they haven't played anybody. And this is where I always look at the schedule. I mean, you can't look at the record in college because there's all these high school teams these teams play that you can't get a feel of the team because they haven't played anybody good. So again, Houston's played Louisville and Central Florida back-to-back and could have won them both. And they're at home, but they're much better, and Cincinnati's not that good on the road. I really like Houston here. Vanderbilt and Tennessee. Tennessee's laying 3. Tennessee's 4-6. They need 2 more wins, but they're not going to get it here. I like Vanderbilt a lot. Vanderbilt went into Florida and won and beat Georgia. Are you kidding? And they're the dog here? I don't understand that at all. Vandy's a 7-point favorite at least. You can get Vandy a 9. That's a joke. I mean, Vandy's the better team, and not by a little. And it's Tennessee. Yeah, they played Georgia close, but as we see, Georgia's got no defense. LSU lit them up. Let's see. Illinois and Purdue. I mean, who cares? Purdue's terrible. It's a bet against team, but Illinois, they have the quarterback. They did put up 35 on Ohio State. They're a road favorite. I mean, if the game was in Illinois laying 6, I'd bet heavily on it. But at Purdue, Illinois will probably win, but it's not the type of team I want to play. Very hard. Going in college, very, very strong plays. Please go to the site www.teaserking.com to get those. You can have the locks for only $25. I try to keep it cheap so people can make money. I'm here for people to make money. It's a business, but I'm not, I want to share the wealth. So, for nothing, I'm assuming you guys are betting $200, $300, $500 a game. So for $25, you make a couple $1,000. I don't get why I don't have 20,000 people buying. Anyway, 2 big locks. Gave you a few games. There's a couple more games I got cooking. What else can I warn you about? Bet against Team UAB. I like Rice to beat them. Rice has a very good running attack. Should pound them. Penn State and Nebraska. Penn State's laying 2. The first thought would be taking Nebraska in 8. Penn State doesn't have much of a quarterback. The trends are all for Penn State, as they're a good home favorite. Nebraska's a bad road team. I don't think Penn State will blow them out, but I think it'll be a pretty close game here. So I really don't have a play here, but I would probably take Penn State in the 4, just because. But it should be a close game. And let's see, Fresno State's laying 31 in New Mexico. I love Fresno State a lot. New Mexico's quarterback and running back are out, so with both of them being out, problem with college is you don't know the backup. He can come in and be Joe Montana or Tom Brady, who were when they were backups, and then they come in and they boom. So this is the problem. So I'd stay away. Fresno State will light it up, but New Mexico is well coached, and they don't have that bad of a team. But Fresno State should light them up a lot. They're undefeated and trying to stay that way, and they're fairly good at home. And we'll talk about Boise State laying 6.5 to San Diego State. San Diego State looks pretty tough against Fresno State. They held them pretty good. Boise's laying 6.5, and they got their second-string quarterback in. But Boise seems to be playing better. I'm almost at the point of taking Boise again. I used to play him with Kellen Moore every week and won a ton of money. And then with Southwick, he's terrible, and I've laid away from them. I haven't played Boise for a while. This probably isn't the spot at San Diego State. I think San Diego State makes a game out of it. I think at the end, Boise wins a close one. Just be careful here. And let's see. Ohio State laying 34 to Indiana. I would be all over this game. Indiana's running backs out, but Ohio State's lost 4 or 5 starters on defense to injuries. And they gave up 35 points to Illinois. Indiana's got a potent offense. Indiana or Ohio State will have blood in their eyes because they only won by 25 with 2 late touchdowns last week, and they should have killed Illinois. So you got to be careful there. I don't know that they're going to cover the 34 because of the injuries on defense. But Indiana is pretty bad, so we'll see. Ohio State will score 50 at least, probably 65. I think Indiana maybe gets into the 20s because of that weak defense. But I think Ohio State comes to play, knows they have to win big because they've dropped in the polls. But it's a game I'd be careful with Ohio State. And that's about it. Good teams to play against. And what I do, these guys are weak, and if you bet against them, you win. I'll give you a quick list. Tulsa, Kentucky, North Carolina State, Purdue, Southern Miss, UAB, Connecticut, Cal, Wyoming, and South Florida. These teams are just terrible. You bet against them and you win all the time. And that's really what you look for. It's either you look for the really good teams in the right spots, or you look for a really live dog, or you look for the mismatch, or you bet against the bad teams. And there's more than one category. Or like I said, teams that have now, like in Oregon, who have a chance to come back after they lost, and now the other team lost, so they can get back in first. So you have those type of teams. So that's what you look for. All right, again, please go to the site, www.teaserking.com. You get all my picks and my locks, 2 really strong locks. And I will talk to you soon. Have a great weekend. And I'm sure I can make you a lot of money.